Welcome to the Shark Bite Show, where we dive into the stories of our members, coaches, friends, and family of Shark Bite Fitness and Nutrition. All right, let's roll. Hey, Courtney.
Hi.
So, guys, today we have Courtney Faunce. She's one of our members here.
Hi.
She is a member of Shark Bite Cape Coral. She's been with us for a little over a year, and predominantly takes part in personal training with Coach Christy, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, now I told you before we started, I really wanted to have you on this podcast. You're on the short list of people that I wanted to contact immediately. So
Awesome.
I'm really glad that we get to have you on here.
Yeah, that's right. I'm happy to be here.
So let's talk about a couple of things, because you have a super unique story,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of people will really like to hear it. So who are you? What got you interested in fitness? How did you find your way to Shark Bite?
Well, my name is Courtney. I live in Fort Myers now. I guess what got me interested was I was tired of being stagnant. So I have some, and we'll go into it later, but I have some mobility issues. So it was always kind of difficult for me to find a coach or find a fitness community that would be able to work with what I've got and would be able to know what I really need for my body. So one day, it was just so random. One day I just Googled Cape Coral. I have a few friends that really encouraged me to find a CrossFit coach. All the stuff that you guys do is crazy amazing. So I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. But for some reason I just did. And I came into an intro and met you, and I was like, okay, let me just take a leap of faith. Let me do it. And it worked so far.
Well, cool. I mean, it's obviously worked. I've seen you do some pretty cool things that I think you maybe didn't expect to be able to do.
No, not at all.
Talk about that intro process a little bit, right? Because I remember sitting in this room with you when we first met, right? And we talked about why you were looking for a gym and what you were hoping to have happen.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about that process. What was that like?
So it was super easy. I think after I typed in that inquiry on the website, you called me right away. We made up a time that worked for me to come in and just talk to you for a couple minutes. You were super authentic and real about what you do here, and I really, really appreciated that. You weren't selling me anything. If anything, you were reminding me of what I have to hope for in life, and so it was just an amazing, comfortable place to be from the very beginning.
Well,
so
that's cool. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad that it felt that way, right? Because you've worked with me and Christy and Crystal and Josh and everybody, and I think salesy is the last word we use to describe any of us,
right.
you know? We came to the realization a long time ago that we're not trying to sell anyone on joining a gym, you know? We're just trying to help people, and if this doesn't help them, then that's okay. You know, there's other places hopefully that will.
Yeah. And that definitely came across, and just your enthusiasm and excitement, and everybody that I noticed here had really good connection, and just walking the door, you can feel that energy when you come here. So I see that every single day, and it's never, I've been here almost a year and a couple months, and everyone's always in a good mood. It's so amazing. I love it here. But whatever.
It is nice, right, when you walk into a place and everyone's smiling and says hi and what's up.
And really be genuine about it. So.
When I do intros with people now, I tell them give it about a week. Everyone here's going to learn your name. You're not going to be able to walk from the front to the back of the gym without 8 people fist bumping you or saying hi. You know?
Yeah.
Where else does that happen, right?
Right.
Okay, so most people at the gym don't know this, but you're currently in recovery from brain injury.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Can you explain a little bit about what happened, what the recovery process has been like, what some of the struggles you've gone through that maybe people don't know about?
Yeah, it's so interesting because having a brain injury is kind of like an invisible disability, because when I started here I was in my 20s, and it's just no one notices, but there's something not quite right or off a little bit. But it happened about 12 years ago. I went in for a routine procedure, and something with the anesthesia, it caused a brain aneurysm in the brain stem. So all my cognitive abilities were intact. It was just my motor function. So everything from breathing, from eating, from seeing, any kind of muscle memory was just kind of reset. So I had to do a lot of physical therapy for probably about 6 months after. But I do still have some residual off balance issues or visual issues. So it's really hard to explain to people right in the beginning, hey, I'm Courtney, I have a brain injury. So it does take some time. for me to get to know people and for them to get to know where I'm coming from. So, I don't know, I tell people it hasn't stopped me from living my life and doing what I do. I'm a licensed mental health counselor. I have my own private practice, and just straight away, actually. And obviously coming here, it's like that last piece I was looking for, to get connected with movement, which I tell my clients is so beneficial for mental health. So finding this was really me walking the talk and really connecting with me and helping myself in that way.
Yeah, well, obviously, right, with some of the stuff you're doing right now. Like, how has fitness specifically helped with that? Like, how has it helped with those struggles? Like, let's talk about, say, your balance.
Yes. So just functionally, small things, like when I park my car and there's like a little curb up to like a gas station or something, I would always plan in my head which gas stations I could go to, like, that didn't have that curb. Like, what? So it's like now confidently being able to remember that muscle memory of like the weight that Christy would have me step over a million times. It's like that in itself is just, it allows me to just go through my day much easier, with less anxiety, less self-consciousness, and just easier to get what I have to get done. So just that functional piece, I'm always super excited. I'll text her like, I did the curb. So, and that for me, being comfortable with that, the small successes for me means a million things. So that's how it's helped.
That's cool. Like, those are my favorite things, right? Like, getting to lift up a bunch of heavy weight is cool, but like, as a coach, and you know, Chris and Josh and V and every one of us have talked about this so far, the coolest thing about a coach is like when you guys get to do something that you thought you couldn't do.
Yeah.
You know? Like, if your life is 5% better outside of the gym because of what you do here, then that means that what we're doing is super successful.
Yes, for sure.
And Christy's like hit me up after you messaged her with those, and she's so excited about it. She is so damn excited about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's a great time to ask about it. Like, you've been working with Christy, right, for a while now. She's your one-on-one coach, right? And you seem to have some really strong positive feelings about her, right?
Yes.
Talk to me about her and what she's done and how and why you guys connect so well.
There's just so many things. But we both, like, we have similar personality traits, I think. We just have fun while we're doing something that's sometimes just a little bit ridiculous. And somebody who just is comfortable to be around, that I can be myself around, especially when, for me, doing some of these movements is this very vulnerable place for me to be, and kind of having to fail over and over again, but being around somebody who's so positive and doesn't allow me that negative self-talk, and just kind of brings that fun and lightness out in me is just, I love her for that. And it's truly authentic and genuine, and that I can't tell you, it's really hard to find. So I really appreciate that from her.
Yeah, every time I look in the back, I just see the two of you laughing the whole time. I'm like, is she working out? What's going on back there?
Right.
That's cool though. That makes me happy because, you know, Christy works very, very hard to make sure that you and her other clients have like a good experience.
Yes. Oh, even that's the other part. I mean, as a coach, she definitely knows what she's doing, and especially with my specific needs, she'll be able to accommodate and customize what she's doing with me. So there's never, like, if I'm not getting something and she's keeping on with the same thing, she'll try something else. So being adaptable, like, you can see that in her coaching, and so awesome.
Yeah, right. And that's the mark of somebody who knows what they're talking about, right?
Yeah.
If I can just repeat one thing to you over and over again, I might not know it. You know? But if I can come at it from different angles, like she does, like, that's got to feel great. You know?
Yes. Yeah.
And you talked about how, you know, it is kind of a vulnerable position, right? And
Yes.
I'll tell you what, like, that's not only with you. Like, for me, it's hard to try new things. You know,
Yeah.
it's hard to try things that you're not sure you'll be successful at.
Yes.
And I know for me, I think having a coach is the surest way to feel comfortable trying those new things.
Right.
Like you said, there's somebody supportive there.
Right.
And if you mess up, well, you guys might laugh about it a little bit. They're not going to laugh at you. They're gonna help you get to the way you want to, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's cool. So you have a very interesting job, right?
Yes.
What is the official position? What's the title?
It's licensed mental health counselor. I'm also a nationally certified counselor and agency partner at the practice.
Cool.
It's a group practice. So
What's the name of the practice?
Lifescape Counseling and Services.
Cool.
We're right off College Parkway.
Awesome. We'll throw that in like the show notes so people can find
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have 6 amazing, talented therapists. We all have our different specialties. For me, I work with a vast population, but my specialty has really honed into eating disorders and trauma recovery. So one of the things I do is EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. So with CrossFit, it's actually really interesting how some of those somatic movements can be so healing, and with the research we have about EMDR and the way the amygdala is working while you're doing those movements in high intensity sessions, it's healing.
Yeah.
It's literally healing the body. So I think that's why I have so much respect for it too.
Well, we've talked about that, right? How it almost feels like a form of therapy, and
Yes.
I know I can't legally say that, but it sure feels like it to me, you know?
Right. It really is. Especially for people who do have that need to have that trauma resiliency piece. Some of the top-down therapy is just we're not hitting the right areas of the brain yet. So getting somebody to move the body and have that body awareness and know what they're feeling, because every emotion carries a physical reaction. To be aware of that, especially with the body movements, is going to help them process and be able to not have an overactive nervous system all the time. So, yeah, I love this stuff.
No, me too. This is super fun.
Yeah.
So, let's say I wanted to go find out more about Lifescape. If I wanted to become maybe a client there, how would I do that?
So we all of us have our direct numbers. You can go onto our website, lifescapecounselingservices.com. Again, each of us has a different specialty. We have our own different vibe that we have. So pick your therapist that you feel like is going to be best for you. And you can also call and we can help you decide that. We call back within 24 hours. All of us can get you in within the first couple of days of you calling. So it's a very direct, streamlined process.
Cool. Okay. Well, I know that I've shared a bunch of your stuff on social media. It's been really helpful for me. I know it's not exactly the most fun topic for a lot of people to talk about, you know, but I was in the military, and I found that like mental health and actively working on it is something that can benefit all of us. You know, you don't have to just be whatever you think goes to mental health counseling. You know,
no.
I know. I mean, for me, it's very helpful still.
Yes. There's definitely a stigma. We have a therapist, she's a first responder counselor, and she's trained in EMDR too. But with the population that she works with, it's a big stigma to be seeing a therapist. So what we do is we don't center around diagnosis, we don't center around typical talk therapy. We customize it for what you need and what your family system needs. So that's a part of why I love working in group practice, is we all learn from each other, and we're able to help that individual meet their needs as opposed to giving them a standardized treatment plan.
Well, and what's cool is like you explaining that might explain why you like this place so much, because that's exactly what we do. You know, we go between Christy or Chris or myself or Josh or Crystal, and people have specializations. Like if we want corrective exercise, like with your shoulder, Josh is the man for that, right?
Right.
Yeah. Can you talk about that for a second? You asked me to bring this up, so this is like a shameless plug about Josh and athletic recovery services.
Yes. So in his episode, that's definitely what he mentioned about other services, where if it was in a rehab setting, and I've spent a lot of time in rehab settings, it is to have you be able to function in your life. It's not necessarily to help you do those movements in the gym or to even progress once you've reached a sort of like functional level. So what he does with corrective exercise, I know at least for me, it has been just life-changing. Being able to recognize the cues that my body responds well to, and notice like what positions are kind of like my default, and to help me be aware of it so I can help move myself better, has been crazy amazing. And I really haven't seen that, even in all the settings that I've been with all the different physical therapists who are amazing people. That's not what their goal was for me, and so years later, it's been 12 years, being able to work with somebody can still allow my body to learn new things and help me adjust to that is amazing. I didn't even know that could really happen. So yeah, I really appreciate him.
It's cool, right? It's almost like things have been unlocked that you didn't realize were locked yet, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That's my favorite thing about ARS. Okay, so you talked about how you find a connection between fitness and therapy, right?
Mm-hmm.
How is that manifested for you in ways other than physical? So other than being able to step over curbs, which is awesome,
Yeah.
right? Like we talked about the power of a walking lunge for you, right? Like how cool it was that you could now do walking lunges, right?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, it's definitely something I thought I couldn't do before. And like you said, for me, to be perfectly honest, I do have this like need for perfection. And so to come in and not do it right and not be really good at it, it was like my own exposure therapy to like that's what it's supposed to feel like. That's where you have to be able to do it all the way. So like mental wellness wise, it's kind of breaking down my own negative core beliefs about what I can do and what I'm supposed to be doing and to be more vulnerable with people. So it's like, as a therapist, this is really my own therapy.
Yeah, right. It's cool. They say like doctors are the worst patients, you know.
Yeah.
But like, so you're making sure that you actually get your therapy. So like you said, walking the walk and talking the talk.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So in December, you did something really cool, right? We host a charity competition here. We call it the Reindeer Games.
Yeah.
And you competed.
Yeah.
You competed with Josh, right?
Yeah.
I was so excited when I saw your name come across the sign-up list. Talk to me about that experience. You're glowing. Talk to me about that experience.
It was really amazing. I remember when he asked me, he was like, "So you want to be a partner for Reindeer Games?" I'm like, "Do you know? Do you remember who I am? What's going on?" And so I said yes. I told you earlier I'm about yes now. So I just like, you know what? Let me just do this thing, and if I fall and die, I fall and die. So but again, like I wouldn't have been able to open up so much without so many supportive people around me. And even in the competition, I remember really focusing on those fast steps. And there was some group of people on this bench that I've never seen before. And they're just like cheering me on and be like, "Go salsa, girl!" I'm like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" Like this whole everybody that comes to this place gets this like energy and like it just supports each other. And I go in thinking, well, what if I can't do this, or what if people are going to like see me struggling and not know what's that girl, what's she doing here? That never happened, and it was like just like affirming that people are amazing and that I'm amazing and I can do hard stuff.
Yeah.
That's actually my affirmation for this week. I can do hard things.
Yeah, I love that. Those were my friends. I remember in the corner. Those were Dan and Sam, and they were losing it. They came up to me afterwards and they were like, "That was so cool." People are over here doing like box jumps. No one cared about that. Because they recognized that like what you were doing was super challenging and you were doing it well. And yes, well, and for where I started, way back like last December to that moment at the competition, me being able to like focus on what I was doing and like work with Josh and listen to Christy and their cue that they were giving me, it was like it was a good experience. I definitely learned a lot about myself and how to trust myself more, and just being able to meet people that are so supportive was, I think, probably the most important thing for me. Just to have that level of acceptance. So I remember I was supposed to be monitoring like every lane, and I kind of forgot about all the other people. Because as I was watching you do the fast steps, the steps into the box, I remembered your first session.
Yeah.
And like, hopefully you're okay with me saying this. I remember you having a hard time walking towards where your session was going to be.
Yes.
And then we asked you to balance on one leg for about a second, and you almost fell over.
Yes.
And I remember watching you struggle with that the first time.
Yeah.
And now over a year later, you're like competing at a high intensity in front of an audience with people cheering for you as a partner was like waiting for you to do your part.
Right.
That's so cool. I ran up and gave you a big hug. It was so awesome.
I don't know if you know this, but one of the competitors, Talena Puccinano, she was actually one of my physical therapists.
Really?
Way back then.
Oh, Talena's awesome. That's cool. She's down in Naples. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so when I saw her years later in the competition that she was also in, I was in, I'm like, oh my god, and she saw me doing my lane, and she was like, that was so amazing. I'm like, I can't believe you're here. So it's just way full circle. I didn't know he was that.
I didn't. That is so cool. What a cool feeling that must have been, right?
Yes.
Yeah, like
amazing.
You're like, you remember me when I couldn't walk, and here I am doing a fitness competition next to you, right?
Right.
That's so cool. That's such a cool feeling.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you were talking to someone and they were like scared to give fitness a try, right? Like, what would you tell them? What would you want them to hear?
I definitely would want them to let go of that fear, and give themselves just the opportunity to prove themselves wrong and get out of their own way. Because I feel like that was a part of the problem before, these automatic beliefs that I can't do something, or this is too difficult, or this, I have to be fit enough to come to a CrossFit gym. It's like, that's not, at least that's not what this gym is about. So being able to trust the process and be open to learning new things, I think that's why we want them to understand. And that there is a place for you wherever you're at, or whatever level you're at. So.
Yeah, that's cool. If anyone's listening to this, when I asked her what she would say, the biggest smile came over her face. Like, I wish people could see that. Okay, well, cool. Courtney, is there anything else you want me to talk about? This has been awesome.
Oh yeah, the nutrition challenge.
Nutrition challenge, yes. Talk to me about it.
So I had never done anything like that, and it's also kind of a sensitive area, another vulnerable place. To talk about your relationship with body and with food. And so Christy was also my nutrition coach. And so it wasn't about body, it wasn't about being able to be cut or look a certain way. It was about building sustainable habits that are going to allow you to reach the highest potential that you have. And it was amazing. And all this, again, with all the support that you get with the challenge, it makes building those habits really fun, while holding each other accountable. So I got to meet even more people, and it was just a really great experience, and another one of the best investments, like for me, as I'm learning more about how to take care of myself better and like level up in life, that piece was so significant for me too. Because it's one thing to be able to move your body, but to be able to take care outside of the gym is really, really important too.
And you said that now you're kind of specializing in eating disorders, right? Was that helpful at all for your practice, going through that challenge?
It definitely gave me more insight into how we look at food, where there's really no such thing as bad or good. It's different types of fuel for the body. So somebody who was going through an eating disorder definitely would not, they have to learn certain things and become nutrition sufficient before going into something like that, for sure. But with this program, it does not reinforce that same diet culture that most other nutrition programs do, which I really, really appreciated.
Yeah, I'm going to have Katie on here to talk about that specifically. That's one of the things I think we've learned, right? If you're on a diet, I don't know that that's the healthiest mindset. And it's also not going to give you the longest term results, Right. A diet is like a quick fix, and I think generally quick fixes don't work, right? But like you said, picking up long-term habits, they tend to work.
Right. And what Katie talks about too in a lot of her videos and with the program is more what I do once a client reaches a certain level is intuitive eating. So listening to your body, knowing what you really need and how you're feeling, being able to cope using other things besides eating behaviors or overeating. That's something that you teach in the program too, about being more in touch with what you actually need and being able to cope in a healthy way versus using food or as a maladaptive behavior.
Yeah, when I started nutrition coaching, with Katie's my nutrition coach as well, I was hesitant to jump on board for reasons like that, And then when it became obvious that she wasn't going to restrict my eating, she was going to help me make more positive choices. And then the results that would have downstream, I was like, oh, okay, I really like this. I'm super on board with this.
Yes. Yeah. And it definitely with the challenge, I know it made it so much more fun. Another one of the things I'm not super good at yet is cooking.
Yeah.
So yeah, So those videos, and just like the simple directions of like get this, get that, and do this, and cook this in a certain way. If you don't like it, do it this way. One of the other coaches' wives gave me a recipe for something, and I was like, okay, this is fun. This is enjoyable. This isn't something I have to say, oh, I don't do that. It's like, well, I can learn to do those things.
Do you know about Crystal's meal prep course coming up yet?
No.
Oh. Spoiler alert! Nobody heard about that. I'm bad at secrets. You're gonna really like it then. Yeah, it's a course just on that coming out soon.
Yo, awesome.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Courtney. Well, thank you.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for all the hard work. I mean, like, I don't know if you're aware how many people in the gym you inspire on like a daily basis. Anybody who knows your story sees you back there doing cool stuff with wall balls and jumping and steps and running and hopping on the rower and the bike and I don't know if you. I hope you know that you have an effect on the people in this gym, just like you say they have an effect on you. So thank you for coming in and busting your ass all the time.
Thank you so much, and thank you for everything that you built here. It's been amazing.
Awesome. And just one more time, if they wanted to find you or your counseling services, where would they find?
Yes, go to our website, lifescapecounselingservices.com. You can give me a call, and you can probably look the number at the bottom. But and we're ready when you are.
Awesome. Thanks, dude.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for hanging out with us today on the Shark Bite Show. If you'd like to get a hold of us, you can find us on Facebook or Instagram at Shark Bite Fitness and Nutrition, or on our website at sharkbitefitness.com. If you'd like to find out more about our guests, their information will be in the show notes. If you'd like to talk to us about getting more fit, feel free to schedule a free no sweat intro at one of our locations in Cape Coral, Fort Myers, or Naples, Florida.